On this edition of Sightings, this serene dairy farm in upstate New York was the scene of one of the most baffling encounters in UFO history.
I had some pictures of it that I took, and the Air Force took them, and they wouldn't even let me have them.
It flows through our bodies just as it flows through the universe, and its benefits are miraculous. How to capture the power of chi. Her photographs consistently show mysterious phenomena not visible to the naked eye.
I'm still wondering myself why these things show up on my film.
Where does the vision come from? What power do people who call themselves psychic really possess?
I see the way they see, because I'm not me anymore, I'm them.
And a remarkable update about a man who says he's discovered the ancient wisdom to predict earthquakes.
Welcome to Sightings. I'm Tim White. For nearly 2 decades, the United States Air Force appeared to be taking a real interest in the potential threat from UFOs, or UFOBs, as they were called in the early days. Project Blue Book examined 12,618 reports and determined that less than 6% were true unknowns, proving, they said, that there is no significant UFO threat. Looking back at one of those true unknown cases today, the Air Force's conclusion may have been somewhat hasty.
I thought, well, what the hell did I do to deserve this? All these guys coming in telling me that if I don't keep my mouth shut, they're going to throw me in jail.
Harold Butcher had never been treated so harshly. But then again, he'd never seen anything so completely astonishing.
I've never seen anything move as fast as this thing moved and disappear and come back as quick as it did. It moved so fast that you couldn't hardly see it. It was there one minute and gone the next.
Seen once, remembered for a lifetime. Outside this barn in Cherry Creek, New York, 1965. Harold was 16.
As he was working in the barn, he noticed that the radio he was listening to became staticky and blanked out. He had been listening to music, and there was a glow in the sky, and he ran to the window to see what was happening and saw this gigantic object descending.
What it was, or where it came from, is still unexplained, but not for lack of trying. 2 investigative units combed this area. One was the Air Force's Project Blue Book, the other a civilian watchdog group.
And NICAP sent one of our investigation teams to the scene. There was one in western New York State, and they were there within 1 day of the sighting.
At the time, Richard Hall was Assistant Director of the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena. NICAP's distinguished membership included scientists, philosophers, retired military personnel, people interested in solving the UFO mystery.
NICAP came into existence because the Air Force was being very secretive about UFOs, and it was felt that a high-level civilian group could maybe pry loose some information. We were basically adversarial. The Air Force, we felt, was hiding information, and we were trying to get information out.
When Project Blue Book went into the field, NICAP was right on their heels, doggedly gathering information and eyewitnesses that the Air Force had overlooked.
Project Blue Book was the Air Force office that investigated UFO sightings for the United States government. The Air Force system in Blue Book was to label reports in one of 3 ways. Either it was explained, in which case they would say what they thought it was, an aircraft or a balloon or whatever, or it was unexplained, unknown, they used to say, and the third was insufficient data.
The incident at Cherry Creek was labeled as a true unknown.
It was a very interesting case, and one with multiple evidence, including the electromagnetic effects, the physical traces, the illumination, everything. It was a classic mainline UFO sighting.
Well, it looked like an airplane. It was that big. And when it set in the field, it had 3 legs on it. It looked like 2 turkey platters put together with a roll of rivets around the outside. And it sat there a good 5 minutes, so I got one real good look at it. And I've never seen my animals act the way that these did. because they jumped and kicked and bucked and made all kinds of ungodly noises.
He claimed to have seen this object descending and then ascending, and he reported various details, including a red vapor emanating from the lower edge of the object. Claimed he saw the object take up, accelerate rapidly, disappear into clouds, coloring the clouds green. That's the sighting as a condensed version of it that's contained in the nightcap file.
Bob Galgansky has carefully researched the incident at Cherry Creek and has spent many hours trying to track down additional eyewitnesses, like the 2 state troopers who filed an official police report, then just seemed to disappear off the face of the earth.
They had a lot to lose by reporting this. They were risking their reputation. And for them to come out and actually state that they had seen something like that meant a great deal to me. It indicated to me that something genuine was happening in the area.
Dick Nelson still lives next to the Butcher farm and remembers talking to the troopers the night of the UFO incident.
Well, after the policemen saw it, they had a whole different attitude towards it. They couldn't believe what they saw.
Then the big guns descended. The Air Force arrived to investigate, and on their heels was NICAP.
Next thing I know, here come this guy from the Air Force. They had a truckload of guys that taped off the whole area out there and put a guard on each corner of the property there.
That's when, Butcher says, he was threatened by the Air Force officer in charge for taking pictures of the military investigation.
I had some pictures of it that I took, and the Air Force took them, and they wouldn't even let me have them. They told me if I had any more pictures and if they come out, I would end up in jail or the nut house, one of the two.
They were scared. I mean, everybody was scared.
I believe there was a UFO sighting at Cherry Creek at the Carr farm. I don't think it was. It had the degree of strangeness that the NICAP report would seem to indicate it had.
Galgansky's conclusions please no one. Yes, Air Force work was shoddy, but Butcher's testimony is too inconsistent for anyone, military or civilian, to explain.
What you find is a gradual escalation of detail. You find that Harold begins to tell the second team of investigators different things that he didn't tell the first, and there's this gradual polishing of the account.
Richard Hall does not agree.
There's some minor discrepancies in the report, but that almost makes it more believable too, because if you get absolute perfect uniform testimony, then you got to be suspicious that something was rehearsed.
Ironically, the most compelling support for Harold Butcher's UFO encounter comes from the Air Force itself, which concluded that this one was a true unknown.
That, to me, is the most perplexing aspect of this entire case, and why the Air Force, which had never, ever been UFO friendly, would classify this as unidentified is beyond me.
The fact that the Air Force classified this as an unidentified is very interesting and very significant, because they were very stingy about doing that. Ordinarily, they would be very happy if they could label a sighting and get rid of it. If it was even if it was stretching the truth, they would try to explain it as an aircraft or a balloon or strobe lights or something, a meteor.
Maybe they let this one slip by, or maybe indeed there's something more to it than we know.
I think perhaps the fact that NICAP was on the scene at the same time they were might have inhibited them a little bit in this case, because they knew we had the goods on it.
Cherry Creek is one of more than 600 true unknown cases reported to the Air Force between 1948 and 1969. However, investigating these cases further is next to impossible. If you FOIA Blue Book's unknowns today, witness names, addresses, in fact, all pertinent information is blacked out.
Next, how to harness the miraculous and universal healing power of Chi.
I looked the same on the outside, but it changed me internally for the rest of my life.
There is a machine that you use every day that doesn't plug in, take batteries, or operate on gasoline or foot power. It's your heart. And why it keeps on beating nonstop for a lifetime is a genuine mystery. Some people believe it's a perpetual motion machine or proof of a spiritual life force. And for more than 1 billion people, the vital energy that keeps you alive has a name. It's called qi. And qi, the Chinese believe, is yours to command. In Western culture, time is money. You can't be too rich or too thin, but you can have it all, including the stress and illness that go along with it. The fight to get ahead and stay there takes its toll physically and psychologically. It's the downside of the American dream. In China, the road to success and well-being is paved with Qigong, an ancient healing system just taking hold in the West.
Imagine the hands are touching the blue sky. Deliver Qi into the brain.
In workshops throughout the U.S., Qigong master Luke Chan teaches students how to gather and exchange the healing power called Qi.
You do have the power. You have the self-healing power. So it's not something that I am the master and I'm the healer, so I take care of you every time you come in. No, we teach you a method so that you can take care of yourself at home.
Qi means energy. Gong means daily effort. Practitioners of Qigong believe that Qi is energy that flows throughout the universe and flows through our bodies, energy that can be directed at physical and emotional pain. Chan teaches Qi Lao, a special form of Qigong.
All illness disappear now.
Practitioners believe that although there is Qi everywhere, it is not everywhere in equal measure. Qi can be gathered into a concentrated energy field, so the larger the group, the more healing energy there is for everyone.
And then while you're moving, you are visualizing that actually the whole body disappears in the universe, including your illness, just disappear. And then when you get the life energy in, you get the love, the energy into your body. And then meanwhile, you confirm, or you confirm to yourself the illness disappear. So once you are in this Qi field or loving Qi field, you're not alone. Means that we all, as individuals, has a right to be here, to be free of sickness.
Luke Chan's own teacher is Qi Lao Grandmaster Dr. Pong Ming, an esteemed physician schooled in both Eastern and Western medicine. In 1988, Dr. Pong garnered international attention when he opened the world's largest drug-free hospital. Without so much as a single aspirin, Dr. Pong claims his center has helped 130,000 patients, curing heart disease, kidney and gallbladder stones, leukemia, bone cancer, diabetes, and arthritis. But his most astounding and controversial claim is that this film documents a spontaneous cancer remission. 4 Qigong masters create a concentrated Qi field, and as they do, the tumor seems to dissolve, then disappear.
Slowly and evenly.
Deborah Weissenberger was so motivated by her success with Luke Chan, she went to China to see Dr. Pong.
When I arrived in China, we exercised with about 3,000 people. Some people were very young, some people were very old, people in stretchers, and everyone was visualizing the same positive environment in order to heal themselves. I saw what we would call a miracle every day, several times a day, a dozen times a day. I saw a young boy who was blind suddenly be able to see. I saw numerous people with tumors, and the tumors disappeared. All the people were working together. It's not like just one person is healing one other person. It's the entire community of people working together, so the thinking is all as one. I looked the same on the outside, but it changed me internally for the rest of my life.
In 1994, Don Rutherford received a devastating diagnosis. Don had MS, multiple sclerosis, a crippling degenerative disease that can be fatal and for which there is no cure. MS attacks the nervous system and the brain. Death is often agonizingly slow.
When I was first told I had it, I was not scared as much as in shock. I just figured it was over. It's kind of like getting ready to die, I guess, or going to battle. You're dead.
Neurologist Dr. Karen Thallinger made the diagnosis.
Some of the most common symptoms would be transient loss of vision in one eye, double vision, an area of numbness over a part of the face, arm or leg. Other patients can have difficulty with speech. The most severe case would be when the patient could be totally bedridden, immobile, mute, and blind.
On a good day, I would stagger. On a bad day, I would sit down and I'd go anywhere. The illness is there. Now, what do I want to do with it? Do I want to die with it? Doing the movement, number one, does several things. The first thing it does is it puts me in control. With use of this, and it doesn't happen overnight, but with practice, the quality of your life will improve. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing special or miraculous. I do the work, I get the payoff. It's that simple. I don't think I know it's alleviating symptoms, because I can tell you that just by being in here and noticing. It changed my life completely.
There may be no scientific measure for the power of qi, but in New York, City University professor Joan Gondola was ready to try anything after years of back pain aggravated by stress.
What are we doing? How fast? When? When can we eat? When do we stop? When do we do this? That's what we've evolved to. So much of a rush. We don't even know who we are.
Joan came to Chi Lail not for a cure, but for a way to relax, refocus, and figure out who she really was.
With wisdom comes compassion, because one reaches out and knows that the wisest thing is that self is only a small part of what the universe is about. I believe that I have become wiser and more compassionate. The more of us that do that, the more the world changes. If we inside of ourselves make peace, then the world has to change.
People brush their teeth, and then you brush your teeth every day, and then your teeth last longer. And if you do Qigong 15 minutes a day, your body will last longer. You become younger. Forward, slowly. We are not saying that we're replacing the doctors. Just like you brush your teeth, you go to see your dentist. It's something you really look forward to do it every morning, because basically you massage your body every day. You feel so good, you feel so good. So as soon as people realize it, it's good for them. And they will do it.
There are many claims about the power of qi and what it can do for you. But some claims, especially those relating to spontaneous healing, are extremely controversial. According to Master Luke Chan, qi is not about making miracles. It's about improving the energy that you're born with.
Next, does a newly discovered branch of ancient mankind help explain Bigfoot? Later, journey inside the minds of the world's greatest psychics.
Here are some of the stories Sightings is continuing to follow in the news. Bigfoot advocates are feeling pretty smug these days. For years, cryptozoologists have argued that Neanderthal man and Homo sapiens are not the only humans to have walked the Earth together. There's a third human species out there, they've been insisting, and it turns out they're probably right. In Java, on the banks of the Solo River, skulls of an early human species, Homo erectus, have been unearthed, and from a time when they should have been extinct. While some scientists believe that these fossils are a very early branch on Bigfoot's family tree, most will only say that it is time to challenge the belief that we are the direct descendants of Homo erectus.
We always knew before that our family tree was more of a bushy kind of tree. What the new findings show is that the bushiness of the tree went to very, very recent times, and that should give us pause to think. I mean, there is Homo erectus, Homo sapiens, perhaps also the Neanderthals as a different species, walking around at the same time.
Mainstream anthropologists have only recently acknowledged that Homo sapiens ever coexisted with anybody at all, and so their acceptance of a third species hovers between slow and stagnant. But some scientists are encouraged and moving forward quickly. The discovery that Homo erectus has apparently outlived its supposed extinction by more than 200,000 years gives hope to those who feel that reports of Bigfoot's extinction are greatly exaggerated. On the World Wide Web, a blood-sucking humanoid, first discovered in Puerto Rico, is now invading the internet. The chupacabra, or goat sucker, is the latest monster to emerge from the shadows of myth and take the heat for a mysterious string of bizarre livestock deaths. With one mouse click, you can download images, get up-to-date fast with the chupacabra timeline, and read first-hand accounts as they come in from new eyewitnesses. Monster sightings have never been greater, and the chupacabra now has 2 websites. You can connect with Goat Sucker or the Chupacabra homepage at these addresses. In Ottawa, Canada, the results of a significant new UFO survey suggest that the U.S. is no longer the ufology capital of the world. A renowned polling firm, the Angus Reid Group, surveyed more than 1,500 carefully chosen adults who, statistically speaking, represent all of Canada. The pollsters found that a remarkable 70% of all Canadians believe in the possibility of extraterrestrial life. When asked if they think alien beings have already visited Earth, 50% said yes, and another 40% said that if they haven't already, they will. As Hubble probes uncharted space territory and NASA announces there may be life on Mars, a majority of Canadians may just be reflecting what the rest of the world is thinking. We are not alone. We'll have more stories in the news next time. Now, here's what's coming up as Sightings continues.
Capturing spirit energy on film has traditionally been an accidental process. Now this woman says she can photograph ghosts at will.
I call myself a psychic photographer because I don't see the things that I photograph. They just appear on my film.
Ghost photographs have a long and dubious history. When supposed spirits first began appearing in the late 1800s, cameras were a new invention, and even a simple double exposure could fool just about everyone. Today, with advanced technology and computer analysis, truly unexplained spirit photographs like the ones that you are about to see are extremely rare.
I call myself a psychic photographer because I feel the images captured on film are of a psychic nature. I don't necessarily feel that I'm psychic because I don't see the things that I photograph. They just appear on my film.
Donna Quinn modestly admits that she doesn't know why she seems to have a knack for snapping anomalous photos. She just does.
I started noticing spirit energy in my photos around 3 years ago with the birth of my son. Upon developing, I'd find all kinds of images surrounding the baby.
These images were among Donna's first. She logically concluded that it was her camera, not her. But later, with different cameras, different film, the fogs and shadows just kept appearing. She was capturing accidentally what others spend a lifetime trying to find. But are they ghosts? As long as there have been cameras, there has been spirit photography. Are the images proof of an afterlife, or only that hoaxes can be very convincing? Paranormal investigators have spent the last 20 years looking for an answer, and only a few photos emerge as truly unexplained, like this one taken during Carrie Gaynor's landmark investigation of the entity case. Gaynor believes this is not a trick, but the emanation of a malicious spirit.
What we see here are reverse arcs of light. One arc goes right here, another arc goes right here. Now, the reason this picture is so important to us is that the arc on the wall, if it were really on the wall, would be bent because those two walls there are perpendicular. It's not bent, which means the arc is floating in space. The significance for that for us as researchers is, of course, that means it's dimensional and very, very difficult to fake. This was not somebody with a flashlight shining it on a wall. That light is in empty space.
It was the full parallax of the image that baffled popular photography, and it was the only alleged ghost photograph ever published in the magazine. Photo analysts examining anomalies like this can't prove an image comes from another dimension, but they can rule out every other possibility.
I look to see if the image or the phenomena in the image itself seems to fit.
Rand Molnar is the dean of the graduate department at the Brooks Institute of Photography. He has analyzed thousands of photographs that are thought to capture supernatural events.
Does it have some sort of an explanation that can be defined as being a lens flare or some other aspect as part of the normal photographic process? Does it have a texture, a shape, a shadow, depth? So I look at all of the attributes this particular phenomena has in trying to see where it fits into the general picture.
And of all the photos submitted, Molnar believes that only a handful cannot be explained by natural phenomena.
There could be some phenomena that a human observer couldn't see that could be recorded on the film, but I think these are probably few and far between.
But even debunkers like Molnar are willing to leave the door open for a paranormal explanation.
Photographic film is radiation sensitive, and by that I mean it's light sensitive, ultraviolet, X-ray, gamma ray, etc. So it's certainly possible the film could capture an image that cannot be seen by the human eye. In terms of where that image came from, I don't know.
Sightings has found that the anomalies often show up where other bizarre events have already occurred. In Black Forest, Colorado, we brought you this family's haunting story and the strange, smoky images that followed.
I took a picture right over against my wall, and when we got it back, it had some fog in it with an image it looked like of a face. I'm getting the same image in the fog outside the house, in front of the house and back, no matter where I take it.
In a graveyard in Connecticut, Sightings watched as dozens of photographers tried to document the legendary Lady in White.
We don't know who the White Lady is, but she has been photographed and her energy's been photographed. Inhuman spirits seem to not allow her to get the help that she needs in order to pass on correctly. So for that reason, she remains earthbound.
Psychic and eyewitness accounts of ghostly activity elevate the authenticity of these photos, but then there is Donna, the exception to the rule.
I don't feel privileged or special in any way. I'm still wondering myself why these things show up on my film. Am I just catching it randomly? Are they attracted to me?
Donna's uncanny knack for spirit photography has become front-page news in Connecticut, and locals who fear their houses are haunted are asking Donna Quinn for help. Michelle Donahue is just one of many frightened homeowners who believe that Donna can verify their visions.
The lights would go on and off. They'd flicker, sometimes dim and then go right back on. The phone would work, and then sometimes it wouldn't work. And the phone company checked, and they said that there was nothing outside the house, that the problem was from inside the house.
Donna began by photographing the home's exterior to see if she could document the source of the haunting.
We were outside, and she was just taking photographs of the outside of the house. So as we were standing there looking into the dining room, I thought I saw something. I said, oh my God, I swear I just saw a person in the house. And she saw something at the same time.
She commented, oh, did you see that? So we went in the house, and her fiance was sound asleep. No one was around. And I knew right then and there that something was going on.
I'm not exactly sure what she saw at the same time that I saw, but I definitely saw something in the corner of the room.
So it prompted me to take photos. And then when I got them back, sure enough, there was phenomena in the photos.
Donna is continuing to take photographs of the house and other haunted places nearby. She continues, despite charges that, at best, she is just a bad picture taker, and at worst, that Donna is perpetrating a hoax.
There's going to be always skeptical people, and I really don't care if they believe me or not. Basically, I'm just a normal, everyday person who has an ability to capture spirit energy on film.
Donna Quinn offers 3 important tips if you're going to try to photograph spirits of your own. First, make sure you use different kinds of cameras. This makes it a little bit easier to authenticate the photos. Next, don't snap randomly. Take pictures only when you feel the time is right. And finally, Quinn says, be patient.
Next, the mysterious force that gives psychics their remarkable powers.
I discovered that if I got in the person's head, I could get the sense of what they were saying.
Over the years, Sightings has consulted with a handful of psychic investigators who've demonstrated time and again their ability to see and sense things most people cannot. Psychics like Dorothy Allison and Peter James usually appear in a haunted house or working on an unsolved murder case. But this time we turn the spotlight on the psychics themselves to find out why and how they first knew they had paranormal powers.
American culture, American society, contemporary United States is not unique in having individuals that people go to divine, to tell the future, to give advice on spiritual matters. All people, all cultures believe in psychic phenomena.
But in a modern world where science is judge, jury, and executioner, can psychic ability ever be proven beyond a reasonable doubt? For those who claim it, psychic ability can be a blessing or a curse, a surreal movie that plays without warning, or a disturbing montage of images. It can come in a dream. It can bring on unexpected and overwhelming emotion. It is an ability that can be developed or can literally strike with a bolt of lightning.
When I was about 5 years old, I discovered that I had so-called childhood imaginary playmates.
For renowned psychic Peter James, his realization of a psychic gift came early.
I was about 8 years old when I realized that these were in fact ghosts and spirits and not real children. They were real to me because they were a real part of my life.
Peter says his ability to see spirits is a seventh sense and one that he was born with. While other psychics perceive with the mind's eye, Peter claims he can actually see and communicate with another dimension.
Look. Hello? See? Oh, he's angry. Don't be angry with me. Don't play games with me. I'm not afraid of you. It's just like communicating with people that walk the face of the earth in a physical body. Some people have more to say than others, and some are friendly, some are not so friendly.
After hundreds of encounters, Peter claims that he has gained unique insight into the spirit world.
Our nighttime is their daytime. We live in a parallel world of coexistence with ghosts and spirits. They're everywhere. Sally? Is that your name, Sally?
Nowhere has this been more evident than during a series of sightings investigations into the Heartland Ghost, a spirit Peter identifies as Sally.
There's an entity in this room right now. No doubt in my mind.
On this night, Peter claimed to feel, then see, then be attacked by the entity.
Something is burning my face, like right now.
The attack came in the wake of another, fiercer attack on this man. Painful, bleeding scratches were emerging without warning, and Peter felt the perpetrator was among them.
There's a little girl that's standing right there. Sally? Is that your name, Sally? Hi, whoa, hello, easy. I think the Heartland Ghost certainly was one of the most extraordinary because Sally is one of the most aware or cognizant ghosts that I've ever encountered.
But ghost investigations are not the only milieu of the professional psychic. Noreen Rainier and Nancy Meyer are both psychic detectives. Many law enforcement agencies swear by their ability to relive and reveal brutal secrets.
He shot me. I know I'm on the floor, and my back seems to be hurting me a great deal, and I die.
For Noreen, a former advertising executive, her psychic ability didn't reveal itself until her late 30s. It came as a surprise after a psychic client sensed Noreen's gift.
It was like stepping on the moon once I entered into this. I could touch a ring or watch, and I could see pictures in my head. When things started happening to me, I thought that perhaps I was insane, Since I didn't believe in psychic phenomena, there was no other explanation to why these things were happening.
Noreen wanted to use her psychic ability to help others and was drawn to the challenges of police work. She used a technique called psychometry, touching items from the crime scene and then speaking as the victim.
I can feel the way they felt. My vocal cords don't change very much, but my posture, sometimes my facial features will change slightly. I see the way they see, because I'm not me anymore, I'm them. And sometimes I hurt very much when I'm being killed.
Nancy Meyer began to sense her psychic ability very early on. As a girl, she lived abroad with her family and discovered that she could use telepathy to overcome language barriers.
I discovered that if I got in the person's head, I could get the sense of what they were saying. So I used my ability quite a bit to follow conversations in languages that I didn't know.
Nancy's telepathy developed rapidly, and for more than 20 years now, she's been consultant for the Delaware State Police. In that time, she's provided crucial clues in over 200 crimes.
So I started doing a lot of police work, and that was the last thing in the world that I wanted to get involved with. It's very overwhelming. It's kind of hard for people to understand that when a person who is as sensitive as I am does a reading, it looks easy, you know, because I just start rolling. But I have to use a very strong system of blocking within me in order to keep the victim's pains. I have to keep a separate vision. I have to stand right beside her. I have to be able to pick up and follow where she is. But I must not lose me while I'm doing it.
Nancy believes that everyone shares a psychic link, but only a few people realize it yet. She taps into this psychic link to conjure up scenes of the crime. Sometimes this means accessing the psychic imprint found only in the mind of the killer.
I have trouble being in the middle of a murder victim's thought patterns. I have to try to shift into the mind of the killer.
Nancy says that she perceives her psychic impressions as if someone had filmed the crime.
It's three-dimensional, it's in color. It's like watching TV or a movie, only you are standing in the scene. The color is often stronger and more vivid than real life. When I'm doing the murder scene, that vividness is a real problem because it is almost larger than life. It's like looking at a big screen movie that I'm in the middle of, and that's sometimes frightening.
UCLA folklorist Patrick Polk knows that psychic ability cannot be proven scientifically, but he still sees a vital need for the phenomenon.
I think psychics provide a very basic and very important service in that they help address issues that people can't find solutions to on their own.
Nancy believes this role only scratches the surface and that a psychic gift could save the planet.
If the world blew up tomorrow, the scientists wouldn't be any use to us, the psychics would be. Because they could teach you how to plant, even if they had never planted before. They could find water. The dowsers would find what we needed. This is what's going to probably be needed again sometime in history.
We asked all of the psychic investigators in this story if they would give any advice to viewers who wanted to cultivate their own untapped psychic powers. In every single case, their advice was the same, to borrow an old phrase. How do you get to the Psychic Hall of Fame? Practice, practice, practice.
Next, an incredible update on the man who claims he can predict earthquakes.
When Pele held communication with the stars, earthquakes would take place.
Not too long ago, we brought you a report on Mike Lee, head of the religion department at Damien Memorial High School in Hawaii. Lee had developed a remarkably accurate system for predicting earth changes, and the response since that broadcast has been overwhelming. Thousands of viewers wrote to ask what Mike Lee is predicting for the future. So we went back to Honolulu to find out.
It seems to come in regular intervals. Right after a lunar eclipse or a full moon that comes very close to the Earth's shadow.
And I was looking on the board where he written down the earthquakes. I told my grandma that there's an earthquake supposed to come that day. And then she didn't believe me. She thought I was only joking. Later on, when the earthquake hit, and then she's like amazed or shocked that it happened. She's like, wow.
As first reported in a recent episode of Sightings, history teacher and religion department head Mike Lee has developed a new earthquake prediction method based on the sacred teachings of his ancestors.
One day he came up and he says that he's finally got it, and he's written down dates on the board, different places, times, magnitudes of earthquakes.
Lee's method is based on simple physical laws that cause and effect apply to earthquakes too. A theory that colleague Bill Wicking supports wholeheartedly.
The planets and the moon pull on water, and that's what we call tides, and it's reasonable to assume that the continents, being massive, could be pulled away from the plates and slide around a little bit, and that's what Mike's theory follows.
According to Lee, the earthquake effect is caused by the ever-changing alignment of celestial bodies, and his alarming accuracy rates support his claim. But Lee says this is not his unique prediction method. It is based on sacred Hawaiian writing about Haina Akiahi, the moon in flames.
It was said by the priests that when Pele held communications with the stars, earthquakes would take place. And Pele is the volcano goddess. And I pondered the question, how does the moon get into the flames? And the only way that that is possible is when there's a lunar eclipse, the moon turns an orange-brown as the Earth's shadow falls on the moon. And the Hawaiians who observed this in the sky also noticed several days after earthquakes and tidal waves would come. And then taking that data, I started to predict earthquakes, that they were in a rhythmic pattern.
He had some Hawaiian legends and astronomical maps that he wanted to tie in with a computer simulator that I had for astronomy. We were using this in the physics classes. So I set Mike up with a program called Voyager, which he then used to map all the Hawaiian star legends to known astronomical bodies.
By integrating the sacred writings of his homeland with modern geology and physics, Lee has gotten astonishing results. 40% accuracy in predictions based on a lunar eclipse, 90% for a solar eclipse. Lee predicted an earthquake in Peru, and he was right. The accuracy of his predictions has created a tidal wave of email for Damien Memorial High School. Lee was just coming up for air when Sightings revisited the school.
After the last segment of Sightings, we were just overwhelmed with about 17,000 hits on our website page.
After Lee predicted a major quake in the Midwest, thousands of hits came in from people who live within the new Madrid fault zone, as well as South Carolina, Peru, and Japan.
Several people that called in or wanted to find out sent us email wondering if they should travel to a certain area, thinking there might be an earthquake in that area.
The biggest revelation for Lee has been that earthquake anxiety is an overwhelming and global phenomenon. So Mike Lee is now modifying astronomy software so he can teach his prediction method to the public. The goal is to inform and reassure us, and perhaps to save millions of lives.
The email that I've been getting with people who are interested in the 1997 predictions have been telling me, thank you very much for your predictions, and we'll keep you posted on what's happening. So they're not panicking out, they're taking it very rationally and heads up.
We're still getting a lot of traffic from places like Iceland and Alaska and Australia. And any place that's about to get an earthquake, according to Lee's predictions, we generally get a lot of traffic from there.
It's really interesting that the ancient Hawaiian priests knew how to predict earthquakes hundreds of years ago. And now in our technological age, we're just beginning to scratch the surface of what they already know.
If you'd like to know where Mike Lee believes the next big earthquake will hit in your area, you can find up-to-date predictions through the internet. Mike Lee's email address is www.damien.edu/lee.html.
If you've had a paranormal experience or would like to comment on a story you have seen, please contact us at America Online at keyword Sightings. Download images, sounds, and QuickTime clips from Sightings episodes. On the internet, access information about sightings and the paranormal at sci-fi.com/sightings. Sightings, UFOs, a new book from author Susan Michaels, drawn from the files of Sightings. Sightings, UFOs is a comprehensive survey of compelling UFO encounters. Was Washington, D.C. the object of extraterrestrial surveillance in 1952? Have our nuclear facilities been invaded by silent intruders? What really happens at 39,000 feet? Commercial pilots speak out. These are only a few of the stories contained in Sightings, UFOs from Fireside Books.
Until next time, remember, no mystery is closed to an open mind. For Sightings, I'm Tim White.
An underwater greenhouse contains a deadly crop of killer plants. Now these dangerous seeds of destruction have taken root aboard the world's most powerful submarine. It's man versus nature when Roy Scheider stars in Sequest DSV. Sci-Fi Channel next.